Y'all have to give him a round of applause. You have to. And a standing ovation. I have so many questions, and but first let's just start with this. Introduce yourself to everyone, tell them who you are, a little bit of your background, and then we can get into it.
Okay, my name is Tyrel Hunt. I'm the writer, editor, and director of The Sound of Southside. This is my second film. It's based on a novel that I wrote of the same name, The Sound of Southside, and yeah, I'm happy to be here.
Go back. Writer, director, editor, producer, novelist. Is this your first film?
This is my second one. I had another one called April Again that came out in 2019.
And this is the first time you're with us here at the Hip Hop Film Festival.
Yes.
I am almost speechless at this film. It reminds me of what I wanted Mo Better Blues to be. The concepts, but okay, just love. A love story in its purest essence. Why this story and why now?
Well, thank you for the words about the film. And as far as why this story, when I was working on the music for my first film, April Again, we were working on composing the music. I was hanging around a lot of jazz musicians, and I ended up getting really inspired from jazz music. And also, living where I live in Queens, there's a rich jazz history there that I wanted to highlight. So eventually, a couple years ago, I started working where I work now at a place called Jamaica Center for Arts and Learning, and I'm constantly working with jazz musicians, and I'm also in the center of the community, and I see all these things like gentrification, all the other themes that you saw in the movie. So this film was my attempt to kind of blend all of that together in one offering.
And blended you did. You know my favorite part, my favorite scene, because I'm a goofball.
Yeah.
So my favorite scene was when Arthur slapped the brother.
Yeah.
Yo, when I tell you, I rewinded that part in my office like 5 times and was hollering because of just the way it was filmed. It was so perfect. And Arthur, who played the corrupt guy, he was actually in one of my films way back.
Yeah.
I love him. Where is he? Why isn't he here today?
I wish he could have made it, but
Do you
I'm
have
not
any
sure.
of your cast with you?
No.
What?
I think it's because like the time period, most of them are at work and stuff like that. But they're all very excited about this, and Arthur is great. I just love working with him. He was also in my other film, April Again, and he's amazing to work with. He elevates the project for sure.
My other favorite parts were the love progression between the two main characters, from sitting on the couch separate, and then slowly they got closer. Then you see her braiding his hair, the simplicity of love that you captured so elegantly. I have to commend you. I have nothing but platitudes for you because I'm so impressed.
Thank you.
So impressed. Let's talk about challenges. Give us one horror story from production that you had to overcome and how you did it.
I would say one of the horror stories is like actors dropping out at the last minute. So I was constantly rewriting my script to accommodate for different changes within the script. So the film that you see was probably like the 8th version of it, because like I would have like a trumpet player cast and he would drop out and I would recast, and so I just constantly had to keep pivoting, and that goes for not only the cast but also like the locations and everything. Like one situation that you might think is to be on that day, you have to pivot. So I was constantly pivoting, and yeah, I'm happy that we were able to get something out of it.
Your cast was actually amazing. Where did you find that young prodigy? Where did you find him?
The lead actor?
Yes. What's his name?
His name is James.
James. Where did you find James?
Yeah, so James was actually, we did like a big casting call. He was the hardest person to find because I wanted to find actors who actually played the instruments, because I didn't have the budget to like hire someone to teach the actors and stuff like that. So I wanted that authenticity. So James, he sent in a self-tape and he was able to both play the saxophone and act. So I was really happy about that. And his co-star is actually my wife.
Whoa,
Yeah.
wait a minute, okay. The story about, what's your wife's name?
In the film, her name is Afeni, but her actual name is Amanda.
And she's Jamaican.
Yeah.
The story about her issue with, or you shining a light on what a lot of women go through when they immigrate, as particularly West Indian women, when they come here, is get married, you get a job, go into nursing, you have to do these things. You have no time for acting and things of that nature, right?
Right.
So talk to us a little bit. Why was that important to highlight in this film?
So that was directly through conversations with my wife, and just things that she would tell me about her upbringing and also her family upbringing. I kind of brought that all together in the film. I expand on it more in the book, but it was important to me because it's something that I haven't really seen represented on film, and it was something that I really wanted to explore with this one.
I commend you for putting a melanated, moisturized, beautiful sister with natural hair as the lead.
Yeah.
That's all I'm going to say about that.
Thank you.
That was super important. Let's talk about how much did it cost to make this film?
This is about 50K.
That's it.
Yeah. Most of the locations were at my job. I work at an art center, so that's why I base everything around like the art center to all the classrooms and stages and stuff like that is at Jamaica Center for Arts and Learning in Queens. The record store, like a lot of different people came together to make sure that like I didn't have to pay for some things. So all the money went towards the actors and the crew and everything like that. But yeah, we were able to get a lot of breaks.
What do you want to happen with this? What do you need?
I wanted to reach as many people as possible and hopefully get a return on investment.
Maybe triple or double the budget.
Hopefully.
That would be nice.
Yeah.
So we've been asking everybody about the strike and so on and so forth. Obviously, everything you do is independent. You are a novelist, so are you in the union or are you 100% independent?
Independent. Yeah.
How many people did your film employ?
Maybe 20, somewhere around there.
So you fed about 20 families through one production. I harp on that a lot, guys, because I want folks to understand that we do have the power to feed each other, to teach each other skills. We just have to stick to it and stick to making sure that we support each other. So I'm gonna ask you again, and I need you to be super concise with me. What do you need? What is the envisioned goal for this? How can we help you? Where do you want it to go? Meaning, okay,
Yeah.
I know you want everybody to see it. How?
Well, distribution would help, and preferably like some sort of distribution plan that isn't like predatory. So finding the right distribution plan would help, where I'm able to retain some ownership of the film.
If you're unable to do it studio-wise because of everything that's going on right now, have you considered self-distribution and community-based cooperative support?
Yes, so that's why I'm not too stressed about it, the distribution side, because I know like if I don't get distribution, I feel really comfortable with self-distributing. I work in marketing full-time, so I know like a lot of the reason why some filmmakers might not want to self-distribute is like the legwork that you have to do to get your film out there, but I kind of feel comfortable with that. So distribution would help, but I don't think it's necessary.
I love hearing that. Well, you have an ally. I am a fan of yours. I love you, I love your wife. Like, I fell in love with this film and I fell in love with you as a filmmaker. So make sure you tell that to your wife, not like, no.
Okay. Right.
But it's so rare to see it. It was almost like I was watching 35 millimeter, almost.
Yeah.
It felt heavy and real, and the scenery. Who was your director of photography? You?
No, my good friend Derek St. Pierre was on it.
He needs a goddamn award.
Yeah.
You might just get one. You might have to be like, you know what, Derek? I could gush about this forever. So I'm gonna open this up to you guys. I wanna hear from you guys what you thought of it. So please come to the microphone and tell me if you saw what, I just wanna know if you guys saw what I saw and felt what I felt watching this.
Well, I'm a fellow filmmaker and I'm gonna kinda like give you flowers right now because I saw a lot of the inspirations from certain filmmakers and I want to know who, I kind of feel like I know who it is, but who was your, sort of stylistically wise, who inspired you in terms of this film as a director?
This film was definitely Spike Lee.
Yep.
Yeah, Mo Better Blues, which you mentioned. Like I watched that movie a lot. It's one of my favorite movies, just because it just visually and the music and all of that. So I wanted to kind of take a modern take on that with this one.
And my bad. Also, that slap was iconic. Like
Man,
that
on
was like
repeat, on repeat.
that was an iconic slap. But what I want to just say was that I liked how you were able to give a lot of character development to pretty much all the characters in the movie, like the father and the son. Everybody kind of like it all came together at the end. And as a child of West Indian heritage, particularly Jamaica, it was good to see like someone speaking in patois, but not in the corny, Americanized word. And you even did like, you had a scene when they actually talked about that and how American culture views Jamaicans as yaman, jerk chicken, weed. And so I commend you for like putting little things like that in there and giving like little character developments to everybody where it felt like it enclosed. And I'm pretty sure there was more in the novel, which is pretty dope. So thank you for this film, and it really it inspired me to tell more stories that feature Caribbean descent people and all that type of stuff. So thank you.
Hi, yes, my name is Jay Nicole, and I just want to piggyback on what Sean said and what the other brother said, that we definitely want to see more of your work for sure. And I love the visuals and the music that that felt old school, like you said, that Spike Lee style, but the plot was giving me power. The plot was giving me power, and I kept sitting there just thinking like each scene I was like, oh, this is some good writing. Oh, this is some good writing, yeah. So I just wanted to come up here and give you your flowers and just tell you how much I appreciate it, and the fact that you got an actor who could really play, because I was sitting there thinking that too. I was like, he looked like he can really play. I was like, does he really gonna fake it? Or is he really up there playing? So that was good too. I just wanted to give you your flowers on that. I really appreciate your work and I look forward to seeing more.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
But I wanted to ask you, how old are you? And did you go to film school or you a self-learner? I am a teacher and I love seeing young Black men do this, and to say this is your feature film, your second feature film. It seems like you've just really gone a long way. So I'm curious about that part of your life.
Thank you. So I'm 30 years old now, and I didn't go to film school. So I learned through trial and error, I guess you can say. My first film, April Again, I like to say that was my film school because I made some mistakes and I was able to go back to the drawing board and make something more polished like this film. And yeah, I learned editing from making basketball highlight tapes, and I always had a writing background, so everything else was just learning on the job, basically.
Congrats, and thank you for your art.
Thank you.
I have two questions. The first question is, being the novelist, the writer, the director, and the editor, I'm sure that you wanted to be very detailed in incorporating all the plots and points you wanted to get across, whether it was Jamaican diaspora, or if it was, you know, the relationship between mom and son and mom and dad and drug. You had so many different points that you wanted to, how difficult was it to kind of incorporate all of that? I'm assuming that the novel had a little bit of opportunity to spread more, give more information, but how difficult as a director and the editor to kind of like push all that into an hour or so?
That's a good question. It was really difficult, first with the writing process, because like you mentioned with the novel, like a character will say like one line in this, but in the novel, that's like 2 chapters that I can spend on that. So I had trouble condensing a lot of different stories. There's a couple of characters that are condensed into one character in the film that, like in the novel, there's like 3 or 4 different characters. So the writing process was difficult to condense, and then the editing was another challenge. Once I finished the first cut of the film, I noticed that there were some things that I needed to cut down just to keep the pace going. So it's difficult wearing all of those hats, because with editing, for example, you have to part ways with some things that you really like, but I was really prioritizing the story and the pace. So yeah, it was a challenge for sure.
And the second question is, I noticed it felt like there was intention in showing love and without physical intimacy. I don't know if that was very intentional or if it was like, don't touch my wife. So, the question,
you know what it was.
So the question is, you know, for the sake of, I guess, the sacrifice of the shot, right? Was it intentional, as in you was trying to show love without showing too much physical intimacy? There's no kiss, there's no really hugging. The closest was a small dance. And I'm just curious to know if that was very intentional or if it was like, nah, you ain't touching my girl.
Yeah, it was a little bit of both. I knew, like, acting wise, it would probably be like super awkward if like I'm the director, like hovering over them as that would happen. So it was a little bit of don't touch my wife, but it was also like when I watch movies and films and stuff like that, when it's just too much. Yes, I usually just skip ahead of those parts. So I did that with my film.
Yeah, it is uncomfortable.
Yeah.
For me too.
Hi, I just wanted to commend you. I'm a performer and a producer. We have something in common. I didn't know that you, I live in Queens. And so what was so funny was when I saw, what was it? The train station?
Yeah.
That's where I get off, there or Kew Gardens, you know, and everything. So what I loved about it was the youth, in terms of the jazz and the youth. So it's interesting that you are 30, because that, you know, I was very impressed by that.
Thank you.
Terms of connecting, you know, because that's what our culture is. It has to keep on going. So the fact that you are 30 and, you know, bringing back jazz, if it's just a story and a little history of what happened, thank you.
Thank you for those words. Appreciate you to tell the stories of yesteryear and keep that pushing. So, yeah.
And the fact that with everything being so hip hop this and rappers that you took it to jazz, you took it to bebop, you took it to the origins of where it actually comes from, and that lifestyle and that culture that has now been renamed hip hop, right? Because this culture has had many iterations and many names in the music that expresses our struggle.
Yeah.
It was called jazz, and it was called bebop, and it was blues, and country, even country music was ours, and rock and roll. So I think what you did by showing us to remember where our music comes from, and to remember these traditions, and to embrace them, maybe we can get back to where we once started in its purest form, which is love.
I love that, yeah.
You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, sorry. I was pontificating.
Hi, Sir Hunt. My name is Bree Banks. I was very impressed with your films. My first time seeing work from you, I didn't realize you were a novelist until I was on the train coming back to Harlem earlier today. So I respect another Black writer like myself, but you know, you got a whole movie. So I thought the movie was really lovely. Quick question, how long was it?
It was an hour and 18 minutes.
All right, hour and 18 minutes. Also, I want to say, I got some other questions for you, but really quickly, I'm very curious to know, what does it feel like sitting here in the audience and hearing people react to your, you know how Black people, you know how when we watch films, it's an interactive experience. So hearing people like kind of talking to the screen or laughing or clapping, like how does that make you feel as a creator watching people react to your work?
It feels really surreal. It's a little nerve-wracking at times because you hope that like the jokes hit and like you hope that people are really receiving everything that you're writing. But it's really amazing, and I'm so grateful for this platform and to be able to watch my work on this screen. I love it. Yeah.
You said an hour 18?
Yes.
Yeah, hour 18 minutes. We got time for one more question.
Sure. Hey, I just want to let you know that this movie was really, it felt like a soup that just, as it just simmered, it got better and better and better. So I really have to commend you for it. It was really great.
Thank you.
Riley, Riley, I think his name was.
Yeah.
I don't know why, but every time I saw him on screen, he was like, I don't know, it gave a lot of love of comedy to me. I don't know why. I enjoyed watching every single scene. So when you get back to him, please let him know that I really thoroughly enjoyed every scene, especially the slap and the turn.
Yeah.
Also,
Everybody loved the slap.
it gave me like Wakanda, like how it's turned, and
Yeah.
But my question for you is, how long did it take you to make this film?
So entire process from writing to finish and editing was like a year long, but the actual filming took about a week. We shot the film in like 7-8 days straight, and then we spent the rest of the time like editing and like trying to raise money to get sound design and all of that other stuff. So from beginning to end, it took about a year.